President Bola Tinubu has called for the strengthening of regional economic communities to drive integration and trade ties among African nations. Represented by the Vice President Kashim Shettima, Tinubu made the call during the summit on the state of democracy in Africa in Abuja. Tinubu noted that the potential of the African Continental Free Trade Area (AFCFTA) could only be maximally realized when there was concrete economic integration and collaboration at the different sub-regions. He urged African leaders to respect constitutional tenets like term limits and ensure credible elections and autonomous institutions through the African Peer Review Mechanism (APRM) to achieve democratic consolidation.
We must deliberate at this summit on ways through which African sub-regional organizations can help foster better inter-African trade, achieve better food and energy security, promote higher rates of youth employment, alleviate poverty, and realize greater prosperity for our people. The tragedies of our nations and histories inspire our concern about the reversals of democratic governments, particularly in West Africa. That's why we are alarmed by the military coups in Mali, Guinea-Conakry, Burkina Faso, Niger Republic, and Gabon. This summit must thus accord priority to constructive discussions on how the various sub-regional groupings in Africa can integrate their economies more closely, collaborate more productively to achieve greater regional security, and collectively ensure adherence to the principles of constitutional and democratic governance within their respective boundaries.
Earlier, former President Olusegun Obasanjo said the answer to the myriad of challenges confronting democracy in Africa was in re-examining the model of democracy passed on to countries in the continent by their colonial masters.
Democracy, in the generic sense, should be the preferred form of governance in Africa. The idea is not to jettison democracy, but to refine its content, context, and practice. The practice of democracy should be contextualized to reflect our rich socio-cultural history and heritage, and to yield dividends that will meet the aspiration of our citizens. Any form of democracy to be successfully administered requires at least 5 prerequisites to thrive in Africa. These are an enlightened, educated citizenry, good leadership, strong institutions, good middle class, and socio-culturally relevant context.
Also, the UN Deputy Secretary General and Chair of the SDGs, Dr. Amina Mohammed, said the active participation of women and young people in politics and other decision-making processes will strengthen democracy in the continent.